Welcome to Stuck, Time to Improv. I'm Mary Scott with Business Riff, and I want startups to be wildly successful. Today, we're going to be talking about something new in your marketing toolkit. It's called immersive experiences. And we have Josh Blackwell from Black Unicorn. Thanks for coming, Josh.
Thanks so much for having me, Mary. Happy to be here.
So, what is an immersive experience?
Great question. So we define immersive experiences as combination of technology, storytelling, and interactivity to bring a user into an audience's world. So that can be entertainment IP, right? Wanting a fan to feel closer to that character, or it could even be, a virtual training, right? Where we really want the somebody to understand the main pain point of a customer, or how to really engage with the tool, right? So it's really all across the board.
So, what makes it immersive?
Well, what really makes it immersive is you feel like you're in that world, right? And you have, some type of agency, although that can vary and it's on a spectrum, depending on the experience. But ultimately, as opposed to just watching the movie, to make an analogy, you're an actual character in it, right? You're right by the narrator. Maybe in some cases you are the narrator, and you can make some choices, and you're more in the story as opposed to watching it.
Is this something that happens with Oculus or something like that, or can it be just an internet sort of thing?
It can happen in Oculus, which is virtual reality. It can happen with augmented reality, in some cases, but it could also be, live brand activation, right? So something with maybe elements of set design in a physical location. So, that's really the fun of it. And we find that the most interesting experiences oftentimes combine all those different things together, right? It might be a location-based experience, where maybe at some point you put on a headset. It depends on the use case, but ultimately it's a platform for all those different things.
Okay, talk about an immersive experience you've facilitated lately.
What we're seeing a lot of growth in right now is really, sales enablement, right? So training, salespeople, as an example. So, oftentimes the main pain points that we hear from a lot of sales VPs is, empathy, right? A salesperson will come on board and they learn the script, right? They learn what to say and the solution and how to demo it, but they don't really understand, the pain that customer is going through, right? The pain of their problem. To give you one example, working with a company that works with reps that sell into, the trucking, say, logistics industry, right? Oftentimes they're not truckers, or they don't have that background themselves, right? So they don't really know just I mean, people have been in a car accident, but they don't really understand how that affects the business, right? If an accident happens, right, on the road, how it increases, the insurance, and really just has a really huge impact, negative impact usually, on the business, right? And margins and all different types of stuff. So, we create immersive experiences to help reps understand those pain points so they can empathize with the customers more, right? Really know how to talk to them, right? As an example. So simulating those scenarios where they're not just, asking them questions, okay, how much does this cost and stuff like that, but really understanding their pain. And ultimately, that's driving real ROI, right? An increase in conversion rate, real outcome, more trust, right, with the customers. So, that's one use case that we're seeing a lot, but there's more and more that pop up every day, which is really interesting.
Okay. I was wondering if you can describe an experience that you've actually put together for a client.
So, one great example I can give you was actually what we call the Roy Midas experience, right? So this was a three-room experience from, a famous, I guess, venture capitalist slash artist who goes by Roy Midas. He came to us and wanted to essentially, create something, right? And so what we did was a three-room, immersive music experience, for, this artist, right? And ultimately, one room was a virtual reality room where you would learn more about the specific artist's story and what they were going through. The other room was an augmented reality room where there is some puzzles done in augmented reality via like a mobile device that the user would play around with. And then finally, there was a kind of like a tactile puzzle, like a safe, right? Where, as a part of the journey, they would, unlock, more secrets, right? Let's say. And it operated kind of like a haunted house, right? So say there was, 10 people that would walk through this experience at a time. So, a location-based experience that combined those different things together, right? VR and augmented reality. In these rooms, there was elements of set design where you're kind of a detective in this strange new world, putting kind of different clues and things together. And also a live music performance, was happening as well, right? So there was, one a host slash performer in the room that kind of moved the story forward, through music. And, that was, I think, really one of our most, ambitious projects that combined all those different things together, in one, which I think really shows the full power of the platform, right? What's possible in digital and location based. But, that sales enablement example, that's kind of just one medium that's being used, right? It's, more kind of interactivity via, a web browser or, VR in some cases when we're launching it. But, they can be accessed through all different types of mediums or distribution channels.
So for a startup, you can actually walk your potential client through the experience of using the app or using the product or device that you've created. So,
Right.
and it's more than just putting up a screen and showing what buttons to push. It's when this happens, this is how you feel.
Exactly. Exactly. For startups, another use case that we see that's really popular is, kind of immersive slide decks, right? So like investors, they're getting pitched all the time and, they open up slide decks, right? Like, of course, that's everybody has to have one. You send it out via DocSend or whatever, and they click it, right? And that's really, we think, has been a missed opportunity for a lot of folks, right? Because oftentimes it's just a static PDF. They flip through, they spend 5 seconds on it, and it's like another startup, right? But with our immersive slide deck use case for startups, we really get to that. What is the problem that we're solving? How vast is the market, right? Like that market entry slide or market size slide that every startup has to do. It's like, you can list sure the numbers, and yes, they're very big numbers, but really kind of going into that a bit more, making it more interactive and showing people, not just how big, the market is, but how big the problem is, right? All the people that are, suffering and going through and spending all the time having to do, whatever manual or error-prone tasks that, oftentimes these startups are solving for. So,
Do
yeah.
you use animations or do you use something like choose your own adventure where people click here and they'll go this place, but if you click someplace else, you go someplace else?
A little bit of both. It's different for every startup, so that's kind of a part of the marketplace. So once we work with the startup, we do a bit of a consultation, right? We show them some examples, some use cases of, real slide decks that we've worked on. And then from there, it pretty much we will deliver something for them, right? We'll match them with a creator on the platform and they, help bring that vision to life so that, it's a slide deck that's really wows, right? It's not something static, it's dynamic and really captures the attention in that short 5 second, window that you have really with a lot of these, investors a lot of the time.
Yeah, you got to get them within the first 13 seconds.
Got to do something different, got to stand out. Yeah.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Josh Blackwell from Black Unicorn. I'm so glad you could talk to us about immersive experiences as part of the marketing toolkit. And we'll put information in the comments so people can contact you and find out more. And I'm Mary Scott with Business Riff. I want startups to be wildly successful. And one of the best things you can do to accomplish that is book a call with me at businessriff.com. And join us again next time for Stop Time to Improv.